This is Cast of Wonders, the young adult fiction podcast featuring stories of the fantastic. Welcome. I'm Catherine Inskip, editor for Cast of Wonders. Episode 401, February 2020. Our story for today is Mothers Watch Over Me by Maria Haskins. This story was first published in Mythic Delirium in April 2018. Maria Haskins is a Swedish-Canadian writer and translator. She writes speculative fiction and currently lives just outside Vancouver with a husband, 2 kids, and a very large black dog. Maria also reviews speculative short fiction for Barnes & Noble's sci-fi and fantasy blog, and on her own blog mariahaskins.com. Her work has appeared in Beneath Ceaseless Skies, Shimmer, Podcastle, Pseudopod, Escape Pod, and elsewhere. This story is narrated by Amy Sturgis. Amy H. Sturgis holds a PhD in intellectual history from Vanderbilt University and specialises in science fiction fantasy and Indigenous American studies. She serves as faculty at Lenore Ryan University, staff at the Starship Sofa podcast, and is editor-in-chief of Hocus Pocus Comics. And now we've a tale to tell.
Mothers Watch Over Me by Maria Haskins, narrated by Amy H. Sturgis. Even in the dream, Maya knows her pup is dying. She dreams of a lone mother dog in the time before the packs, before the dens, before the sky cleared, before the flames on the horizon went out. Mother dog walks through the dust of the forbidding, beneath the same sky fire that glows ever brighter in Maya's waking world, walking towards the towers, carrying a pup in her jaws. In Maya's dream, Mother Dog is starlight and shadow, and the dirt glimmers where her paws touch the ground. Mother Dog does not speak, but Maya's own voice ripples through the stillness of the forbidding, stirring dust and silence. Watch over me, Mother. Watch over them. Nima is braiding bark in her den on the upper riverbank when Maya enters, tail wagging low in greeting. The 6th is dying, she says, pacing. It takes an effort to be away from the pup so soon, even though she can see her den from here. Nima doesn't look up. I know. Knew it soon as I saw it born. Maya watches her mother's golden fur in the sunlight, watches her compact, sleek body that is so unlike Maya's own tall and shaggy frame, watches Nima's long and strangely dexterous claws that wrap and twine strips of bark, making it a quickly growing length of rope. She thinks of all the things she wanted to shape when she was younger, envying the way Nima would grip and hold with ease. Nima says that sturdy paws make for an easier life. Long claws slow you down. And Maya knows it's true enough. Long claws rarely hunt for themselves. But what is sometimes curse is sometimes blessing, too. My pup must live. Why? Nima asks. Maya hesitates. With 12 litters before this, she has seen pups slip away before, has given birth to stillborn ones as well. It's a telling. Nima looks up. What telling? Maya paces, then sits. She's never had a telling before, has only heard Nima speak of them, the knowing without doubt, the all-consuming urge to obey, like the year Nima knew about the forest fire before it happened, like when she made the pack move from its dinning spot downriver before the old place flooded. That the pup must live, that I must go into the forbidding, that I must bring the pup to the towers, to God. Nima puts down her craft. Maya knows her mother wants to argue, but Nima also knows better than anyone that it's pointless to quarrel with a telling. I must carry the pups. Can you craft me a thing like you wove for Eris, the baskets for gathering herbs and plants? Could you make one for carrying the pups? I could. Can it be ready tomorrow? Nima looks at her supply of bark and reeds, calculating. Yes. Then figure 2 days solid walking to the towers. Figure 3 with the pups. Maya knows what she's not saying, that slow pups rarely live more than 3 days, and none live more than 4. The pups are at Maya's belly for most of the day, but the last-born still won't feed, not even when Maya gently nudges it over to where the milk seeps out. Like the others, it's speckled black and gray with white marks on its chest and toes, but it came out not breathing, wrapped tight in its amniotic sac. Maya had to prod and lick until the pup drew breath. Now she touches it gently, cleaning its face and rump, feeling its fragile warmth and faltering heartbeat. Between the sunset clouds outside, the sky fire flames white. It has been burning ever brighter since winter. Most dogs say it's a star like any other, but Nima says elsewise, and even in her old age, Nima sees true. Maya shivers. She thinks of Mother Dog in her dream, and feels the telling stir inside her bones. Nima comes by at dusk, carrying straw and bark from the forest, taking time to cradle each pup in her deft paws before she leaves. In the pack, only Nima and ancient Eris are Longclaws, and none of Nima's pups or Maya's have ever inherited those flexible toes. None except the 6th. Can you feed it? Maya asks. She has seen Nima do it before for other slow pups and other litters, and now Nima does it for the 6th, suckling milk from Maya's teat, dribbling it into the little one's mouth, holding its jaws open with one long, careful claw. Can't do more now, Nima says once the pup has swallowed some. She sniffs it gently before she puts it down. It won't make it to the towers. Even if it does, God might not be there anymore. Nima's eyes gleam as she turns in the den's opening. It isn't even strong enough for a name. You know it. It will be. It will be, Maya repeats to herself, touching the 6th with her breath and tongue, her thought and nose. That night the sky fire burns so bright it devours the stars around it, and Maya cannot sleep. In the dark, the scents tell her of the only world she knows, the forest on the slope above the dens, the shrubs and reeds by the river below, and on the other side of the water, a narrow strip of grass, fading into the shadows and dust and eternal gray of the forbidding. Far beyond the river, beyond sight or nose or hearing, are the broken towers. Nima's stories say the towers once glowed in the night, but that the lights were extinguished long ago, in the time before the packs, before the dens, before the mountains burned. The river draws the line between life and death. That's the way it's always been. To cross the water is to leave the world. Nima says you're leaving. The moon outlines Belg's high-legged gray body with silver light. It's a long time since he was at her teat. All her other pups have moved away or died. Life brought them to her and took them away. Only Belg remains. Why would you risk the pups? It's a telling. Yours or Nima's, like her nightmares of the star, that it will kill us all. Longclaws have strange thoughts. Don't trust in that. The telling is mine this time. Belg sits. He peers at the sleeping pups. Maya thinks of the fathers of her litters, none of them alive. The last one, Fire, died with a deep scratch down his belly, given by a stalker. She thought it then, but knows it now. There will be no more pups. These 6 are her last. There is no God. No life for pups in the forbidding either, Belg growls. Stay. Maya stands up to challenge him, feeling her body sag and creak even as her hackles rise, teats hanging low as the pups whimper beneath her. Belg holds his stance a moment longer, then shakes himself and leaves. He's not a bad leader, Maya reminds herself when she lies down with the pups again. Just strong and stubborn. Too much like me. Before the sun slips free of the horizon, Nima brings the weaving, 2 baskets held together by straps and loops. It will sit around your chest. Hold the pups on either side. The flaps are to keep them dry should it rain. Maya waits for Nima to feed the 6th before she slips the baskets on. Her legs through the loops, the woven strap braced against her chest, another strap around her ribcage, holding the baskets steady against her sides. It fits snug but comfortable. Nima helps her put the pups in, 3 on either side. The 6th is so weak, it hangs unmoving in Nima's jaws. Most of the pack has gathered in the dawn light, pups and mothers, fathers and elders. They stand quiet, awkward in the shifting of the shadows. Maya knows they think her already dead, that this is their reverence and farewell, same as they'd offer any dog wandering off to die from age or sickness. Tread careful, Nima says, their heads touching. Maya tries not to whimper. The birds in the forbidding have moved on for the season. The stalkers should have moved on too. Should have. Belg watches, tall legs stiff, shaggy tail high. Maya walks over, head down, nose trembling with memories of the pup he was, tumbling his littermates in the dirt, always resisting her paw when she cleaned him. The strongest of my pups. Strong for one, strong for many. She licks his snout, wags her tail, held low. Belg's tail lowers too, but he doesn't speak. She trots past him, away from the pack, down to the river. Maya has crossed this ford many times, chasing fish and birds and stalkers, never going farther than the strip of green along the outer bank. Now her paws are heavy and reluctant, the river wider than she remembers. The smells ahead are warning her to stay, to go back to the safety of the den. It's the whimpering pups that make her move, make her run through the shallow stream, across the grass, into the desolation beyond. Belg howls, and there's an unexpected tone of longing in his keening voice. Turning, Maya sees Nima on the slope beside the dens. Nima doesn't howl, but her sadness is an ache in Maya's flesh. When she moves on, she feels Nima's mind withdraw from hers until not even the faintest touch of it remains. In the forbidding, the ground is cracked and pitted, covered with ever-moving swirls of dust. The air and dirt smell barren and decayed. There's no scent of dogs, except the distant, fading tendrils from the packs that live along the river. But there is sound. The forbidding thrums with a pulse, a tremor so deep and resonant Maya feels it in her skin and bones, burrowing beneath her thoughts, willing her to turn, to stop, to leave, to lie down and die. Walking forward is like pushing into a storm, like stumbling through heavy snow, a barrier within and without. Maya knows she would have faltered 1,000 times if the telling did not force her steps. 3 days to reach the tower where God lives, if the stories told are true. No dog has gone there and returned for many lifetimes. There are stories of pups being carried to the towers, being healed, being changed. More tales of dogs that never returned. Maya wonders whether such things really happened many times, or if they happened only once and have been retold in many different ways, as seems to be the way with tales. There is no God. Maya walks on, clinging to the telling, listening to the shallow breathing of the sixth pup each time she stops, willing it to live, to stay. Even if there is no God, even if there is nothing else in all the world, there is still me. Stay with me. In the night, Mother Dog returns, the pup still in her jaws. Maya finds no words to say, other than the ones she has already spoken. Watch over me, Mother. Watch over them. Mother Dog doesn't slow her steps, but it seems to Maya that her head turns, that the eyes of shadow and starlight rest on her for a little while. The pups stir when Maya wakes. Even the sixth moves and whimpers. She sniffs its paws, thinking of Nima's claws, weaving bark and straw. Maya walks on towards the towers, through the dust, through the thrum of the forbidding, through her own despair. Mother Dog's glimmer trail can't be seen, but Maya feels it, like she used to feel Nima's mind guiding her when she was hurt or frightened, like she feels the telling in her bones, like she feels the lives of her pups quavering in her veins. At midday she chases off some crows and eats what they've left of a rodent carcass. There's a trickle of rainbow-clouded water and a patch of shade beneath a tree nearby, and she rests, feeding the pups. The sixth doesn't stir. Its life is slipping from her grip. The 5 pups tear at her teats. She speaks the names she gave them as they were born. Belg and Fire, Dion and Nima, Thunder. No name for the 6th. Not strong enough. Not yet. Why am I here? Why am I risking our lives? There's no answer, just the telling, lodged deep in her marrow, driving her on. After drinking from the stream, she dribbles water into the 6th pup's mouth, cursing her clumsy paws. She thinks of Nima, thinks of Belg, his howl across the river. But when she looks back, there's nothing there. The land rises and falls. The river and the life it shelters is out of sight and scent and hearing. The rain comes as Maya sets off, drops shedding from the woven flaps of Nima's baskets. Maya is cold and wet. She whispers to her pups, "Stay with me." Sometimes she thinks she sees Mother Dog ahead, sometimes behind, sometimes above, running in the skies, chasing the ravenous sky fire far above the clouds and sun. Watch over me, Mother. Watch over them. The stalker falls on Maya at nightfall, at the outskirts of the forbidding, the towers looming close. It's a mangy thing, lean and scarred, strong and desperate in its hunger. Maya doesn't even smell it until it's there, a blur of yellow-black striped fur, claws raking her flank, spilling the pups from the baskets as she tumbles in the dust. Fear and rage turn everything to teeth and blood. They tumble through the rough and thorny undergrowth, claws tearing at soft bellies, teeth ripping at ears and eyes. In the quiet of the forbidding, they are noise and fury, hiss and bark and growl. Maya knows that something, someone, fights with her, in her, sharing her skin, giving her a strength and tenacity she has long since lost. Mother Dog, Belg, Nima, Maya feels them all with her, in her, and together they rip, claw, kill. The stalker bleeds out in the dust. Maya is bleeding too. The pups whimper. Maya stands over them, lips trembling, tongue dripping, the thrum of the forbidding so loud and deep it almost strips her bare. She has no strength to move the pups very far, but she finds shelter beneath a rocky ledge, carrying them there, one by one. 2 pups are hurt, scratched by stalker claws, but they're alive, even the 6th, each stained with dirt and drool and blood. She licks them clean, gathers them against her before she tends her own cuts, exposed flesh quivering. The 6th sleeps curled up against her chest that night, its shallow breaths mingling with her own labored breathing, tethering their lives together. A chill night wind makes Maya shiver, but when the pups sleep, she limps over to the carcass, tearing open the belly, ripping out the soft parts, gorging on the stalker's last bits of strength. In the morning, nothing stirs in the forbidding except the shadow of a bird rippling across the ground. Maya's body aches. Nima's weaving is torn, but the towers are close now. She puts the pups into the basket that is still whole. It hangs crooked, but stays on. Maya limps, blood dripping in her tracks. She has lost the glimmer trail, can't smell it, can't feel anything but fear. All she feels and hears and smells are the pups, dying as she carries them in between the broken towers, her tired paws stumbling on the rock-strewn, fissured ground. How will she find God? She sniffs the air, but it gives no clues. Nothing smells like life here. No life, no pack, no dogs, no God. All day she searches, limping, stumbling, bleeding. At dusk, the pups mewl and whimper at her belly, and she wonders if she has milk enough for all of them. The 6th is fading, its life so sheer and thin there's barely anything left for death to take. Mother, she thinks, and sees Nima before her, though it is not only Nima, but every other mother dog that has come before. Maya sees them all the mothers, back to the beginning of days, gathering around her, muzzles gray and black and brown, fur soft and shaggy, scarred ears and crooked tails. They are shadows and starlight. They are the beginning and the end. Mother, mothers, watch over me, watch over them. When God comes, God is merciful. God lifts her up in gleaming arms that pulse with light, white and blue, radiating through glossy, cool, gray skin. God is tall and angular and wide, moving smoothly as if carried by a river or a breeze. There's a hum and whir to God's presence, like a song, like a purpose, like a telling. Maya hears it and feels the meaning of its song. Rescue, assist, observe. Maya tries to say something, but isn't sure that God would hear or understand. What language does God speak? She wonders, before she slips away. Maya wakes in another place, light, warm, safe. It is a vast room with walls of stone, angular and smooth, covered in squares and rectangles of shimmering gray and black, adorned with colored, flashing lights. There's a deep hum suffusing everything, like God's voice, but deeper still, a never-ending chant beneath the stillness. God is there. God smells of dust and stone and pups and things Maya cannot name. God's hands are large and shiny, its dexterous appendages reminding her of Nima's claws. God cradles the sixth pup, placing it at Maya's belly, where the other five already sleep in a tangle of soft fur and limbs. The sixth crawls, mouth searching, finding, feeding. Maya breathes in its scent. It smells alive and strong. Strong enough for a name. In the den, the trees and water whispered names to her, but there are no whispers here, only God's gentle hum and the chant beneath. Maya listens, thankful that the thrum of the forbidding has receded. There is a name. Laika. It's a good name. Maya's tail wags, slow and weak. God speaks to her. God's voice is strong, echoing between the walls, yet somehow it is more distant and foreign than the song and the chant beneath. Your pup has been treated for dehydration and bacterial infection. Its condition has improved. Its health will be monitored. Please remain inside the facility. The surrounding area is not safe for biological organisms. Maya doesn't understand the words, but it doesn't matter. Her telling is fulfilled. She is spent. When Maya wakes again, her pain is gone, and the cut on her leg is no longer bleeding. She sniffs at the white strip of flexible weave covering the wound and decides to leave it in place. Standing makes her nauseous, and she heaves up a slick of bile. You have suffered multiple injuries, including internal and external hemorrhages and contusions. The damage has been repaired, but you have lost a significant amount of blood and are also suffering from bone cancer. The medications administered will ease your pain, but your life cannot be saved. God moves away, still speaking. Please remain inside the facility. The surrounding area is not safe for biological organisms. There's a crack in the roof. Through it, Maya sees the sky fire, bright and hungry and close. Maya sighs. All her life is in that sigh, all her fatigue and anguish, all her longing for Den and Pack and Nima. God feeds Maya soft lumps of scentless food from a bowl and gives her water. Most days she's strong enough to walk around, to watch the pups, the sky, the broken world outside. The pups have opened their eyes. They scamper, tugging at tails and ears, yipping at each other, God and Maya. Laika lingers close. Sometimes Maya feels Laika's mind touch her own. The touch reminds her of God's song, reminds her of Nima. It's a cold morning. Maya knows it's her last day, and she is almost gone already. Laika is walking, wobble-legged. She's still the smallest, and her long claws make it hard for her to keep up with the others. There's a sudden waft of heat and dust from outside, a whir and hum. The pattern of lights in the walls and in God's arms shifts for the first time, green and yellow mixing with the white and blue, flashing faster than before. God's hum shifts, too, becoming deeper, more intricate in its rhythm. It still says, rescue, assist, observe, but also communicate, move, depart. Maya understands someone's coming for God and the pups. She lays her head down, watching Laika's long claws clutching at the bowl's edges when she eats, holding, grasping. God's hum flows beneath Maya's thoughts, steady, calming, knowing. They wait together. Life is being and becoming, Nima told Maya once when they dozed beside each other by the river. But there's so little time left for being, and no time left at all for becoming anymore. Where is Nima now? Maya thinks of her mother and wishes she was resting in her warmth. Maya's breath slips, her heartbeat slows, but she holds on a little longer. The mothers have gathered around her. She wonders if they will follow. Will they go where the pups go? Will I? Will I turn to starlight and shadow? Make our pups strong, the mothers whisper, and so she whispers too. Images flow through Maya's mind like memories, like dreams. Her pups grown, running between grass and sky, past strange dens. Laika crafting new shapes, new words between her paws. Maya isn't sure if she sees true, but it doesn't matter. It's a good story. Steps come closer. Maya tries to rise, but can't. There's a bark. Baljet, make sure we get the data that we need off that core, fast as you can, please. Then scavenge the place for parts and cryopreserve supplies. Chop, chop. I don't like these restricted areas any more than you do. Heavy paws and long legs approach, a welter of smells that Maya cannot decipher. Uplink's fine, boss. The antique's been off-grid since the evacuation, but the old mobile AI units are resilient as hell. Since the evacuation? How many centuries is that again? Never mind, don't tell me. There must be reams of data lodged in here. Something to remember this old place by, once that asteroid has ripped it up. Steps closer. Stop. Riva, look at this. A paw. How strange a paw. It is like Nima's, yet even more slender and deft, claws too short to rip and tear. The paw touches Maya, touches Laika's long, flexible claws. A voice, too, soft and cooing. Other voices join in, gathering around. Good voices, friendly snouts. The pups dash and scuttle, wagging tails, wobbly legs, whimpers and barks. Maya feels God's song touching her, and she wonders if the strangers and the pups can feel it too. Do they feel its deepening hum, its gentle but insistent force like a bright new telling in their bones? Rescue, assist, observe, nurture, protect, thrive, love. Get the bio-carry unit, Baljet. Make sure you get them all. Hania and the biology department will want to see this. Maya's breaths are shallow. She feels herself lighten and dissolve, no longer tethered to the heartbeat and breathing of Laika or the other pups. Be, she thinks, mingling her thoughts with God's voice. Become. Good dog. Is it God's voice or someone else's? Maya isn't sure, doesn't care. She thinks of Belg, wondering what he would think of such a gentle touch behind his ears. Maya closes her eyes. God and the pups are leaving. Laika, too. Their minds withdraw from hers until even the faintest touch is gone. Starlight and shadow embrace her. Mothers, watch over me. Watch over them.
Maria had this to say about her story. I've always loved stories about talking animals, and that was probably the original inspiration for this story. It was also inspired by dogs I've known, and by Alexandra Horowitz's book Inside of a Dog, which is about how dogs think and communicate. Another inspiration was the book Mort by Robert Rapino, which features a lot of talking animals that don't exactly think like people do, but still make for wonderful protagonists. For myself, this is a story about hope, that our children will move forwards, will be, will become, that they'll build new worlds for themselves and make up for our shortcomings and mistakes. In this particular post-apocalyptic landscape, We see non-human characters with their own understanding, history and lore. If you're interested in that kind of thing, you may want to check out a document titled Expert Judgment on Markers to Deter Inadvertent Human Intrusion into the Waste Isolation Pilot Plant, a set of instructions and ideas designed to protect future civilizations from our nuclear waste, without assuming any continuity of language and culture across what might be millennia. There's a link to it in the show notes. It even has its own fanfiction. Before I go, I have several pieces of good news to announce. First of all, the Escape Artists Patreon has just met its 8 cents a word goal. A special shout-out goes to Zalia, who congratulated EA on hitting this target in person this weekend, via the medium of a ginormous cookie. We've been paying our authors at the 8 cents rate since it went up last year, but hitting this target means we're not losing money by doing so. Thank you all so very, very much. Even if your support comes simply by listening and signal boosting, it's very much appreciated. We'd love to be able to do even more. Right now, our narrators only receive token payments, far short of industry standard rates for voice work, and our associate editors don't get paid at all. We desperately want to change that. Last month, our associate editors worked their butts off for this show and cleared 800 story submissions in record time. If you want to send them a message of appreciation, drop us a note via Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or the EA Discord. The second piece of news is the results of our audience poll. Thank you to everyone who sent in their votes. I'm thrilled to announce that the top 3 stories chosen by the audience were, in order of publication... Can we have a drum roll, Jeremy? Why I Spared the One Brave Soul Between Me and My Undead Army by Setsu Uzume. The whole Cast of Wonders team loved this story, and we're so glad you did too. The Lie Misses You by John Wiswell. If I'd been allowed 2 staff picks this year instead of just the 1, I'd have picked this story. It's great to have a chance to put it in the spotlight now. And The Rose Sisterhood by Susan Teitel. It's wonderful to know that this story resonated with the audience as well as it did for me and the team. I had a small argument with a family member over Beauty and the Beast this Christmas and the value and power of fairy tale retellings. I'm not going to dive back in and say, "Ha, so there," or anything like that, but it does give me a nice warm glow. Join us again next week for a special story for Valentine's Day. We love bringing you the best audio fiction week after week, but we can't do it without your support. Please consider supporting us with a monthly donation through either PayPal or Patreon. You can also review us on Apple Podcasts, request us on Spotify, and consider the stories we publish for award consideration. There are lots of ways you can help. Join the discussion on our Patreon Discord server, the EA Forum, forum.escapeartist.net, or visit on Twitter at Cast of Wonders. Come say hello. Cast of Wonders is a production of Escape Artists Incorporated and is brought to you by editor Catherine Inskip and assistant editors Andrew K. Ho and Carissa Sluss, associate editors Amy Brennan, Alicia Caparaso, William Haitliner, Umaira Hussain, Sean Proctor, Ray O, Susie Rodriguez and Emma Smales, audio producer Jeremy Carter. Our art director is Alexis Goebel and our community manager is Danny Daly. Our episodes are released under the Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives 4.0 International License. That means you can download or listen to the episode on any device you like, but you can't change it or sell it. Our theme music, Appeal to Heavens, is by Alexi Nov and available from Promo DJ or his Facebook page. Thank you for listening.